Welcome to the news on Zodiak, and you're with me, Robert Kalua. Let's have a look at the headlines. Former Reserve Bank Governor Dalitso Kabambe arrested. KCH laboratory named one of the best in Africa under COVID-19 certification program. MHEN calls for sensitization of whistleblower protection laws. And Malawi faces 4 million desk shortage in private schools. Immediate past governor of the Reserve Bank of Malawi, Dr. Dalitso Kabambe, has been arrested today in Lilongwe. 6 other former and current bank managers are also in custody in Lilongwe. We are told that Kabambe handed himself over to Area 30 Police Headquarters after he heard police were looking for him. National Police spokesperson James Kadazela has told us his arrest is over alleged abuse of office. The arrests are linked to a bank transfer of billions of public funds around the time the elections in May last year to a commercial bank and another company. There were running battles Monday afternoon between police and car washers and trolleys protecting their removal along the Lilongwe bypass road. The car washers claimed they were not forewarned that they should move out by the Lilongwe City Council, while the trolleys alleged that they are authorized by the council. The impasse made the road impassable, with burning tires blocking any passage. The High Court in Blantyre has shifted to July 15th this year submission of final arguments by the state and defendant in the attempted judge bribery case involving businessman Dr. Thompson Mpingajira. Registrar of the High Court and Supreme Court of Appeal, Gladys Gondwe, says Judge Dorothy De Gabriel has other engagements this Wednesday, a day the submissions were initially scheduled to be done. Both parties have not expressed revolutions with the new arrangement. Happy Njiramano has filed this report from Blantyre.
In the last court proceeding, High Court Judge Dorothy De Gabriel said the state and the defense should make their final submissions on June 30, 2021. This is in the matter where business mogul Dr. Thompson Mpingajira is being accused of attempting to bribe judges who presided over the historic presidential elections case. However, Registrar of the High Court and Supreme Court of Appeal, Gladys Gondwe, says the submissions will be made on July 15 and not 30 June as earlier indicated.
The judge has another engagement on the date on which the matter was previously set down.
One of the defense lawyers, Patrice Nkhani, says they have no issues with the shifting of the dates.
We indicated to the court that we didn't have any problem with the change to the 15th of July, and so we received a notice of hearing confirming the 15th of July as the date when the hearing will take place.
Reinek Matemba is leading lawyers from the state in the matter.
We got communication from the court that the matter has been shifted to the 7th of July. Then we got another communication from the court that will appear before the High Court on the 15th July for final submissions. We were given reasons for the shifting, but on that point I would prefer if you could talk to the Registrar of the High Court to confirm.
The Anti-Corruption Bureau dragged Dr. Thompson Mpingajira to court on allegations that he attempted to bribe the judges to rule in favor of the former president, Peter Mutharika, and the Malawi Electoral Commission, MEC.
And on Monday, the state paraded 3 in a case in which 13 police officers are being accused of having a hand in the murder of Blair Lule, a suspect who died in police custody in 2019. The 3 included wives of late Lule and 2 police officers. Kamuzu Central Hospital's laboratory in Lilongwe has been named as one of the best laboratories in Africa under the COVID-19 lab certification program. Confirming the news on Monday, KCH Director Dr. Jonathan Ngoma believes this will help to embrace public confidence on COVID-19 test results amid misconceptions on the pandemic. Dr. Ngoma explains.
For Malawi, it's something that shows that we can provide quality things and we are a facility that is reliable and credible. What we're going to benefit from this is like we travel a lot, and the results that we'll be presenting will be results everybody will trust, because people have always said there are a lot of fake COVID certificates that have been provided, and the people know now that we are providing some of the best results, and everywhere in the world where you go, people will not doubt about the results that you have. And the issue about having fake COVID certificates has been also an issue which has been spreading COVID-19 across the world. So this one will be a way of trying to reduce the spread of COVID-19 and coming together as a group in Africa to certify labs providing COVID certification. I think is a way to go. And KCH is very prepared. As you know, KCH was the first facility to manage COVID-19 in 2020 during Easter. And over time, we have experienced how to manage it, and we are more than prepared. The only problem that we have always had and talked about has always been oxygen.
Malawi Health Equity Network has called for cessation of the country's whistleblower protection laws, saying this would encourage more people to give important information to journalists and other investigative authorities. Mahin head of programs Davis Machumu further says that this would help fight corruption and poor governance in various sectors, including the health sector. Machumu said this on Monday during an event of honoring 3 Malawian journalists who scooped all 3 awards in social accountability reporting, sponsored by the Partnership for Social Accountability PSA Alliance Project. Innocent Kumchero filed this report.
Whistleblowing involves revealing evidence of wrongdoing, either to journalists, graft-busting agencies, or even police. In almost every society, including Malawi, people are afraid to be whistleblowers. But head of programs at Malawi Health Equity Network, Mahin, Davis Machumu, says it is important that we should encourage more people to be whistleblowers. In fact, he says it is crucial that people must know that there are laws in Malawi that protect whistleblowers.
We have a registration whereby whenever someone has observed an issue, can report to authorities, to Anti-Corruption Bureau and other institutions. However, most people are not aware of that kind of registration, that they are safeguarded, they are protected when they do report on various issues regarding their well-being, the way they are treated at facilities.
A seasoned journalist, Josephine Chinele, concurs with Machumu. She adds that if we encourage the habit of whistleblowing, journalists in Malawi would serve the society even better, as they would expose more evildoers.
This will help, will motivate people to tip us more, and will be able to dig out all the dirt and then expose it.
In Malawi, there are several legislations that encourage and protect whistleblowers. Some of these include the Corrupt Practices Act and the Access to Information Law, which specifically protects against penalizing people who disclose information of public interest.
Health stakeholders say the inadequacies in sexual reproductive health continues to defeat efforts to protect girls from teenage pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections. Malawi Health Equity Network head of programming, Davis Machumu, said this on Monday in Lilongwe when 3 journalists from Malawi were honored for winning first 3 awards in this year's SADC Social Accountability Reporting Competition. Here's a report by Chimo Mibadata.
Malawi Health Equity Network, Mahin, says the need for robust investment in sexual reproductive health services will be paramount to addressing problems in the health sector. Head of programs at Mahin, Davis Machumu, has therefore described the 2.8% budgetary allocation to sexual reproductive health services as retrogressive. He says unless there is robust investment, Malawi cannot see an end to teenage pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections.
This concern was raised because it's our basis. It's coming from the family planning costed plan. That is to say, when we were coming up with that plan, the thinking was that those resources will cater for most of the challenges we are facing in sexual reproductive health. However, we are going towards the end of that plan, but we haven't yet allocated resources to implement that plan.
On the funding gaps, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Health, Dr. Matthew Zingwale, reiterated the need for the country to increase its budgetary allocation to the health sector.
As the Committee of Parliament, we've been fighting for increase in most of the health budget allocations. And actually, government over the years has been responding positively. If you look at the curve for funding of health sector, it has always been increasing. But the past year there's been COVID, whereby government was forced to move monies from different areas to fund the emergency.
The two were speaking when Action Aid Malawi honored journalists that have won this year's Social Accountability Reporting Awards, which are under Rhodes University of South Africa. Action Aid Executive Director Hassan Gorowa challenged media institutions to invest in investigative journalism if Malawi is to end corruption. 3 Malawian journalists, Josephine Jinere, Winston Male, and Innocent Kumchedwa, have won all 5 awards contested by 5 countries in the SADC region. For Zodiak, this is Jimwemwe Badata.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
Sompenya amalawi watukula Malawi 2063 ufika 2063 akale wokomera aliyense achinyamata tikwirane manja tukula Malawi achinyamata tikale patsogolo tukula Malawi Malawi wosimira paeka Malawi wokomera aliyense Malawi 2063 kusinda dziko lathu mokomera aliyense.
Tikolole kungonjezera mayunitsi a TNM kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tikolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera mayunitsi ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira mabonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
Welcome back. Here are the top stories again. Former Reserve Bank Governor Dalitso Kabambe arrested. KCH Laboratory named one of the best in Africa under COVID-19 lab certification program. Mayhem calls for sensitization of whistleblower protection laws. And Malawi faces 4 million desk shortage in primary schools. Moving on, Minister of Education Agnes Nyalonje says that the country needs close to 4 million desks in primary schools to achieve ambitions of improving learning conditions. The minister revealed the shortage on Monday in Parliament when presenting a ministerial statement on how government intends to improve the learning environment through the provision of desks. Still on education, authorities in Chikwawa have bemoaned of high level of congestion in schools in the district, a situation putting learners at a higher risk of contaminating the COVID-19. For example, District Chief Education Officer Mark Shades Dakamo says classroom learners ratio currently stands at 1 to 133 against recommended 1 to 40, especially this time of the pandemic. Masozi Kasambara found this report.
Ordinarily, the recommended classroom learner ratio is 1 to 16. Public health protocols, however, dictate that the ratio in question be 1 classroom to 40 learners in a quest to minimize or prevent further spread of coronavirus. Here in Chikwawa, out of 179,000 primary school learners, there are only 1,587 classrooms. This translates into 1 classroom hosting 133 learners. It is against this background that government and state actors are joining hands in a quest to mitigate the challenge. SOS Villages in Malawi has since constructed 8 classrooms and several toilets at Mwanamakoko Primary School to the tune of 88 million kwacha. SOS Villages Program Director responsible for Gabu, Michael Nyoni, explains what motivated the organization to come up with the initiative.
So it came to our notice that the school does not have structures. And we also observed that there were a lot of children who were staying idle in their villages because there was no structure for the children to attend classes. So that's what motivated us, because we have a lot of children that we work with in the village that should be going to Mwanamakoko Primary School.
A school head teacher, George Papela, gives a picture of what the school was like before the infrastructure.
Before, learners were living under a tree. They had nowhere to go to pass out their waste. In fact, this caused a lot of problems like diseases. But as of now, things have changed for the better.
But what is the significance of the donation? Maksheds Dakamau is District Chief Education Officer for Chikwawa.
It has got a very, very big significance, very big impact on that one. Before the blocks, the enrollment was very, very minimal, up to 500 learners only. But the coming in of the blocks has increased to 1,496 learners as I'm talking at the moment.
Learners, parents and local leaders around Mwanamakoko Primary School are equally overexcited with the development. For Zodiak, Masos Kasambala reporting from Chikwawa.
And former students from Chayamba Secondary School on Monday donated 350 plastic chairs to the school. Chairperson of Chayamba Secondary School alumni says this is to ensure that the current students learn under a conducive environment.
Chayamba Secondary School in Kasungu started in 1989, and through its corridors, it has groomed a lot of people who believe they owe it a thank you. This is the reason former students from the school have come back to visit their former school to inspire current students and also support the school with a donation of 350 plastic chairs. Chairman of Chayamba Secondary School alumni for the Lilongwe chapter, Deusdedit Tentani, says the group was formed to alleviate the school from its challenges to ensuring that students have a better learning environment as they pursue their dreams.
1989 up to now, most of the things are out of order. They are not in good shape. All the chairs which we were using are broken down. So the learners have a difficulty or challenges in doing some of their things. Maybe when they want to sit in class, they have no enough chairs, or even if they want to eat their meals, they have to use the chairs. So we felt we should at least do something by giving them the chairs that they can use.
Deputy Headmaster for Chayamba, Derek Nkandawire, said the visit inspired students to rise above every obstacle, motivated by testimonies from the alumni. Talantira Suntani is one of the students.
They have inspired all the children, all the students in our school.
For Zodiac, this is Nkubwi Kasungu.
And that's about what we had time for in this edition of news. But before we go, a look at the headlines. Former Reserve Bank Governor Dalitso Kabambe arrested. KCH Laboratory named one of the best in Africa under COVID-19 lab certification program. Mehin calls for sensitization of whistleblower protection laws. And Malawi faces 4 million desk shortage in primary schools. Visit our website, zodiacmalawi.com, for more news. My name is Robert Kalua. Thanks for watching.